Hello, I'm Ralph Rennick. If you think there is too much violence on television, look in the streets. The FBI reports crimes of violence up 13% this year so far. And already Dade County has had 300 murders this year, surpassing the entire number committed last year. And what about the victims of these crimes? It seems there's more to it than most of us think about. Here's Joe Averill.
There are attempts to raise our awareness of the plight of the victim, like the CBS movie for tonight, Act of Violence. Elizabeth Montgomery and James Sloyan play news reporters working on a series of stories about crime in the streets.
They hit my dog with a brick, kill him. They find maybe $20. One of them is standing over me with a knife. They leave me in the floor. My dog's dead, see? They kill him for no reason. No reason.
McSweeney, I am willing to take you along on this because you're smart. You're cute and you care. But you're ignorant. Soft-minded and sentimental and sheltered. Watch my mouth, sheltered.
I don't go out. Don't dare go out. I get my food delivered from the drugstore down the street. 'Cause my son knows a cook. Next year I move. There ain't no law here. This is a jungle.
That's Hollywood. Dramatic, yes. But there's truth in what you saw. Now let's meet a real victim.
Well, Vivian, first day at work downtown Miami and you're on your way home, what happens?
Well, I got into a pretty rough neighborhood, and while I was waiting at a red light to make a right turn, I got hit on this side of my head, and when I turned to see what had happened, there was this black man standing there with his gun inside my car already. He hit me in the face right over here, and I started bleeding all over the place, and I was pretty well knocked out a little. He unlocked the door, he opened the car, he pulled me out. He just threw me into the street, and he took off in my car.
Now, what happened after he drove away? I mean, did people come to your aid?
Well, there were a lot of people on the corner when I was being attacked, because I remember when I looked to the left to see what had hit me, there were people standing on the corner and everybody was watching, but of course nobody saw anything.
Everybody looked, but nobody saw anything. Sound familiar? Vivian picked herself up and stumbled alone into a nearby restaurant for help. You would have helped Vivian, of course, when she obviously needed it, but what kind of assistance does she need now when she gets home?
Since your purse was stolen, has it caused you any emotional upset, such as in your sleeping or eating or nervousness?
Dade victim advocates say all victims need to adjust to the shock of the crime. This small group educates victims about how the criminal justice system hopefully brings their attackers to justice. Those seeking help here not only learn about their part in legal matters, but perhaps more importantly, learn about psychological adjustments they'll have to make after their encounter with violence.
Most people, when they do become victimized, just their first reaction is, this can't be happening to me. This is, I'm a nice person. I pay my taxes, I go to church, I don't beat my kids. Why is this happening to me?
Did that surprise you that this happened to you?
Yes, it did. It surprised me very much because I always thought that happens to people that you don't know. But
Vivian had taken a wrong turn into a rough neighborhood, well known for its history of violence.
I'm scared to death of anyone.
Now listen to Mary's story. She returned from jogging in her neighborhood about 10 o'clock on a summer evening. She started to climb the stairs of her well-kept apartment complex in a respected suburban development.
And I noticed three men, and they were hanging around the area of the automobiles. And as I walked on the way up the steps to my apartment, I was accosted by one, and a lot of derogatory, very crude remarks were said to me, at which time I did turn around and state that I was a lady. I don't like to be talked that way. And as I turned around and head for my apartment, I felt hits, blows on the back of my head, and I turned around and received more blows with fist onto my face. And at that point, all I could do was scream for help.
But now let's make sure we understand. You weren't bothering them. You said nothing to them first. You did absolutely nothing to antagonize them or provoke them. Okay.
Nothing.
So here you are. You're badly beaten. It's clearly evidenced on your face, I presume. You're
I
black
had
and
a
blue.
hairline fracture on the cheek right.
So the police...
Mary was not only injured, but angry. The police told her that the case was only simple battery, a misdemeanor. Unless a police officer actually saw the act of violence, there could be no arrest. Mary followed the proper course of action by then going to the state attorney's office to file a complaint. If her complaint seemed valid, then a citation would be issued to the attacker, if he could be found, to appear in court. Mary's case was considered useless. The state attorney's office explained that once in court, she must prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that what she says is true. It then becomes her word against his, a difficult, often impossible case to prove. Meanwhile, Mary feels powerless and threatened.
After all this happened, after he struck me and after the man that hit me walked away, he shook his hands in the air several times and said, "He's going to kill me. I'll come back and kill you." Made this type of remarks. And from then until Tuesday, I don't believe I slept.
Look under weapon. Knife. A stucker. Right here.
You cut a woman's face for $17.50 and an apple pie?
Hey, I'm from the ghetto. You know, like all we eat are canned beans. You know, I'm a deprived youth. If I was white and educated, I could have worked for Nixon.
Stoneblood, I hope none of your victims ever sees this. You'll never get out of here.
You disappoint me, baby. You could put my picture on TV right now, and not a single person would put a finger on me. Because I got my friends, baby. You dump on me, and my men dump on you. Fear and power, baby. That's what makes it. Fear and power.
Once again, the movie may seem overly dramatic, but fear in victims of violent crimes is real and needs proper attention.
I would be very concerned about somebody who their normal routine wasn't disrupted, because it's going to be sooner or later. If somebody isn't showing any effects now, then they're just pushing that down. It's going to come out later. And frequently we'll get people who call us up, 10 years, 15 years later and say, oh, there's finally someone I can talk to about what happened to me.
Well, now, for instance, I usually keep a half of a baseball bat in my car in case something happens, and I carry the bat with me when I go into my apartment, and I use it to take out the garbage and things like that.
You wave it around?
Yeah, I let everybody see it, make sure the first one that comes up to me is going to get it. I'm not going to ask any questions.
I'm sure like a lot of other women this has happened to, it fills you, it makes you bitter. You want to go out and buy your own protection. You feel a lot of paranoid, hate, and fear. And this is something that someone doesn't understand, and I could never understand it either.
If you need help as the victim of violent crime, call the Dade Victim Advocate Office at 547-7933. Or call your local police department to see if there's a victim advocate for your community if you live outside of Dade.